Hey Browns fans! Welcome back to the channel where we keep you up to date on all things Cleveland Browns. If you're excited to dive into today's stories, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any breaking news. We've got a packed lineup today, starting with a surprising addition to the injury report and continuing with some tough news about one of our stars. Stick around for all the details and let's jump right in. Alright, let's start with today's late-breaking news. Rookie defensive tackle Mike Hall Jr. has been added to the Browns injury report with a knee issue. This news came out shortly after practice concluded, where Hall presumably sustained the injury. The timing couldn't be worse, given that the Browns recently traded away defensive end Zadarius Smith. Hall, though just a rookie, was expected to step up and fill in some of the gaps left by Smith's departure, but his status is now in question for this weekend's matchup against the Saints. Hall has only appeared in 4 games this season, tallying 5 tackles so far. Despite limited time on the field, he was gradually earning more playing time, and now this knee injury puts a damper on that momentum. According to initial reports, Hall was a limited participant in practice, which is a small glimmer of hope, suggesting this injury may not be serious enough to sideline him for long. But for now, his availability this Sunday remains up in the air. Now, let's shift gears and talk about an update that's left fans holding their breath. It involves linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and it's not exactly the news we were hoping for. As you all remember, JOK suffered a scary neck injury back on October 27th. While the immediate concern for his well-being was thankfully addressed, the long-term outlook for his NFL career remains unclear. Mary Kay Cabot recently shed some light on the situation, and unfortunately, it's not sounding too optimistic. Owusu-Koramoah has been placed on injured reserve and is expected to miss a minimum of 4 games, but the real worry is about his future in football. According to Cabot, there's still no definitive word on whether JOK will be able to resume his NFL career, and before even thinking about a return, he'll need to go through extensive medical evaluations. Browns Nation, this is tough. Owusu-Koramoah was a rising star. Drafted out of Notre Dame in the 2nd round in 2021, he made a name for himself with his versatility, speed, and relentless pursuit on the field. Last season, he broke out, racking up 101 tackles, 3.5 sacks, a couple of picks, and 6 passes defended on his way to a Pro Bowl selection. This year, in just 8 games, he amassed 61 tackles and 3 sacks. We're all rooting for him, both as a player and a person. If stepping away from the field means preserving his health, then of course, we want him to prioritize that. Here's hoping we see JOK back in action someday, but for now, all we can do is wish him the best in his recovery. Now, let's talk about the Browns' defense and a trend they desperately need to break. Through the first 9 games of this season, the Browns have managed only 1 interception. Yes, you heard that right, 1 interception, and it came back in Week 5 against the Commanders, courtesy of none other than Owusu-Koramoah. It's a stat that stings, especially for a team built on an aggressive, opportunistic defensive scheme under coordinator Jim Schwartz. What's the issue? Well, Schwartz himself mentioned that it's about finishing plays. The Browns have been in position to intercept passes on multiple occasions but have failed to complete the catches. Add in a few unlucky tip balls, and the interception drought starts to make a bit more sense. Improving the pressure rate on opposing quarterbacks is also a key factor. Currently, the Browns' pressure rate sits just below last year's mark, and Schwartz believes that more consistent pressure could force bad throws and lead to more turnovers. Safety Grant Delpit, who has been a playmaker in the past, emphasized that the secondary can't get too greedy chasing picks. The goal is to be disciplined and capitalize when the opportunity arises, but never at the cost of breaking coverage or allowing explosive plays. The Browns were reminded of this harsh reality in Week 9 when they allowed the Chargers to complete multiple deep passes, including a couple of touchdowns. Heading into a matchup against the Saints, who have shown their own knack for explosive plays, the Browns need to stay disciplined. And speaking of the Saints, this game will be a homecoming for Delpit. Growing up in New Orleans and playing at LSU, he'll have plenty of family and friends in the stands at the Superdome. Here's hoping he makes it a memorable return with a stellar performance. Alright Browns fans, that's it for today's update. What do you think? Can Mike Hall Jr. make it back in time to contribute against the Saints? Will the defense finally break their turnover drought? Now, Jameis Winston heads to New Orleans this week, looking to keep the ball out of the hands of a Saints secondary that is among the best at turning defense into offense. Despite ranking 29th in overall pass defense, the Saints are 4th in the league with 12 interceptions. That's no coincidence, and they'll be hungry for more when they face Winston this weekend. Now, let's be real, Winston has had some issues with ball security this season. In just 2 games, he's already at 5 potential picks thrown by defenders, including 3 against the Ravens in a win and 2 against the Chargers in a tough loss. The Saints, with their ball-catching secondary and playmaking safety Tyrann Mathieu, will certainly test his decision-making. So, what's the plan for Winston heading into this game? According to offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey, it's all about trusting the process. The big thing that we preach is, we've got to trust our eyes, trust what we see out there, Dorsey said. When you trust your progressions, you don't feel the need to force plays or make something happen that isn't there. The plays will come naturally. Dorsey also warned about the Saints' aggressive style of play, with former Browns defensive coordinator Joe Woods now leading their defense. They love to mix things up post-snap, showing one look and then quickly changing. That kind of unpredictability can trip up even the most seasoned quarterbacks, and the Saints do it well. They've got physical corners who press hard, aggressive safeties who aren't afraid to take risks, and they know how to exploit mistakes. Winston himself seems focused on minimizing errors. I'm taking it one play at a time, he said. As long as the decision is right, I'm building on it. While he acknowledges making some poor choices, he's determined to be better. Wide receiver Jerry Jeudy added that he'll have to match the physicality of the Saints' defensive backs to give Winston the best chance to succeed. They're aggressive, so I've got to be aggressive back, Jeudy said. The Browns' defense, meanwhile, is facing its own challenges. They're tied for last in the NFL with just 1 interception this season, a stat that's baffling for a team known for its defensive prowess. That lone pick came courtesy of linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah back in Week 4. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz believes that it comes down to finishing plays. We've had our hands on some balls but didn't come down with them, he said. Our pressure rate is down a bit from last year, and that affects everything. We need to force bad throws and capitalize on those opportunities. Safety Grant Delpit, who's returning to his hometown of New Orleans for this game, shares the frustration. It's been a drought, no doubt, he said. We've dropped a couple picks, and that hurts. But we can't chase them at the expense of getting out of position. It's about staying disciplined and making plays when they come to us. Switching gears, there's a late-breaking injury update. Rookie defensive tackle Mike Hall Jr. has been added to the injury report with a knee issue. He was a limited participant in practice, so his status for Sunday remains uncertain. Hall was expected to take on an increased role after the Browns traded away Zadarius Smith. In his absence, players like Ogbo Okoronkwo, Isaiah McGuire, and Sam Kamara will have to step up. According to Schwartz, Hall's got athleticism and power. We'll miss what Zadarius brought to the table, but the rotation will adjust, and others will need to fill that leadership void. All right, Browns fans, now it's your turn. What do you think? Can Jameis Winston avoid turnovers against his former team? Will the Browns defense finally break their interception drought? And how worried are you about Mike Hall Jr.'s injury? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our updates. Thanks for watching, and go Browns!